Anyway, we were raised in a four-room house with 6 kids, poor neighborhood. The thing about being poor is you don't always know you're poor. We didn't even have a bed, my brother and I. We had to sleep on the couch at night. Good Christian family. My mother was a really devout believer. My dad he was a third-grade education. He worked in a service station. When I graduated from high school, there was no money to go to college. 4 days after I graduated, I went to Navy and and I spent almost 4 years in the Navy. And I met Dottie. We fell in love, and at that time, I was a hard worker and spent a lot of time on my job, and I wasn't walking with the Lord. My goal was to retire at age 55, and I didn't quite make that. I retired when I was 57. And I had these plans when I retired that I was going to get a sailboat. Dottie and we were going to sail off around the world. I said, well, that's not what happened. We had been going to the Lake Worth United Methodist Church, and we got to know Frank real well. And one day in church, he says, hey, we don't have an adult mission program. We never had one at the church. Would somebody like to volunteer for that? And there I look around, there's my arm up there like this. And I'm trying to get it down, and it won't come down. And I'm getting embarrassed, and Dottie's bugging. So that started me asking some questions, and I was put in touch with this guy who went to Mexico. He offered to take me down. He was a crazy driver, and we drove down there, and I thought I was going to die. but I didn't. So about the third or fourth day, I'm sitting out there, and this little kid comes up and sits down beside me, and I'm throwing these pieces of dirt, just, and hit the pastor, the director, that offered his car. And he looks at me, and his eyes got real big. So I picked up a piece of dirt and handed it to him. He threw it, and he hit the car. And he grabbed me and hugged me, and his name was Benito, and I'll never forget that hug. It was like a Jesus hug. And a feeling of peace came over me, and I kind of knew, I knew in my heart that that's what God had called me to do, because I felt like I was home. And somewhere along in there, right after that first year, I knew that I wanted that feeling again that you get from helping somebody or being where God wants you to be. Came across this service center called NICA, which is basically a community service center over on the north side. The gal who's the director over there, Connie, she sent us to a house to pick up a refrigerator, and said, take it over to this other gal. Hadn't had a refrigerator in a while, so we pick up a refrigerator and take it over to this little house. And the lady was waiting for us on the porch. She had crutches. And we got the refrigerator inside, and that house was just as spick and span as you want to see. And she hadn't had a refrigerator in 8 months, 6 to 8 months. And so we got the refrigerator, plugged it in, and it started working, and she stuck her hand in it. She could already feel it was cold, and she reached around and hugged me. And it's the same kind of hug that old Benito had given me. And I just when Al and I got back in the truck, we just bawled. Because God had touched both of us again, And then I was convicted that you don't have to go to Mexico. You don't have to go someplace strange in the world. You don't have to be in Mexico. All you got to do is just open yourself up to what He's calling you to do, and to be a servant for somebody like Jesus tells you to be. And He'll touch you. And I wish everybody would have that feeling. It makes your life joyful. It makes it fun. And gives you peace. So my prayer that would be for everyone to have that experience. I'd like them to listen to that still quiet voice that's in their heart. And become a servant in some fashion. Because that's what Jesus wanted us to do. And let me tell you something, you'll get that joy. It comes. It comes. You can't help it. He just gives it to you. And I'd want everybody to have that.